So on behalf of Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, I welcome Mr. Suhas Mate and Mr. Sachin Devdhar to this session on engineering career opportunities in Japan. And I also welcome all the participants. I'll request all the participants to put your queries in the question answer window, which is given here. And the session will be scheduled. First, it will be Suhas Mate sir's talk about the opportunities. He will be also sharing some videos on how he prepares students to face the challenges at the interviews. And then we will have a session by Mr. Sachin Devdhar. After that, we will take your questions. So be patient till then. Thank you so much again. And I'll request Kadu sir to please start with the introduction of our speakers.
Yes, madam. Yes. So here today's our guest Suhas Mate sir. Welcome to this in Vishwasiddhi Student Career Counseling and Guidance Cell. So
Thank you.
Sir basically working as a president in JALTAP, that is Japanese Language Teachers Association of Pune. Sir is basically currently working in IoT based systems. Also in addition to that, sir is basically handling research and development about skills required by engineering students for motion applications so that fresh engineers can be job ready. Sir is basically working, sir basically did in, it's a bachelor that is in electronics and telecommunication engineering from College of Engineering, Pune. And sir graduation batch is 1985. Sir basically work in Mitsubishi Electric, DZP, Hinode, and currently sir started his business, MCOS Consultants, and sir is having additional Japanese language skill sets. Sir basically did its 3 years advanced diploma in Japanese language from Pune University in 1992. In 1993, sir basically topped in Pune GLPT Center, and sir basically got an award in 1994 Japanese Study Tour Award by Japanese Foundation Japan. Sir basically started its business that is MCOS Consultants. MCOS Consultants business basically supports foreign companies for setting up their factory and businesses in and around Pune. Mostly basically sir is handling the Japanese companies. Basically sir is working as a president in JALTAP. JALTAP is a basically non-profit organization promoting Japanese language education all over Maharashtra, and JALTAP is a host institute of Japan Foundation for conducting JLPT in Pune. So welcome sir. So with this,
Thank you, Kadu sir. Thank you very much.
So as a policy of our college, behalf of Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, we welcome to in this webinar series Vishwasiddhi Student Career Counseling and Guidance Cell.
Yeah, thank you, Kadu sir, and thank you, VIT, very much. Thank you, Swati madam. Thank you.
Now, Kadu sir, please introduce Devdhar sir as well.
Okay, madam. So welcome sir, welcome Sachin Devdhar sir in Vishwasiddhi Student Career Counseling and Guidance Cell. Sachin sir basically working as a director in IT planning and promotions, RGF International Recruitment Corporation Ltd Tokyo. Basically sir did its a BE in instrumentation engineering from Vishwakarma Institute of Technology Pune, and sir is basically the first batch of Instrumentation and Control Engineering, Vishwakarma Institute of Technology. Sir, graduation in 1996. Sir, basically did sir MBA in International Business Strategy from Hitotsubishi University, Tokyo, 2009. Sir basically got the best performance award for strategy simulation. Another achievement of sir got the best run-up award for business plan. Sir, in addition to that, worked as a software consultant, system executive, account manager, senior director, head solution delivery management, Japan, and currently working as a director in IT planning and promotions. So basically, sir is handling the digital platform strategy and implementation for recruitment, business applications, portfolio strategy and implementation, infrastructure management, infrastructure security and governance, IT finance. So today here we have a great personality. Sachin Devdar sir is having a 20+ years experience in IT consulting and system integration and heading IT operations for international recruitment BU at Recruit, staffing and recruitment company in Japan. So I welcome to sir in this Vishwasiddhi Student Career Counseling and Guidance Cell.
Thanks for a brief intro, and really my pleasure to be back to VIT and on this occasion to have this webinar with fellow students as well as alumni. And thanks for inviting me. Thank you, Professor Swati Shilaskar.
Thank you, sir. So I'll request Mate sir to please start with his presentation. Kadu sir, we can stop the sharing.
Yes, madam. Yes, sure, madam.
Thank you, Swati madam. Thank you, Kadu sir, and thanks Sachin san. Thank you very much. I will start. Sound replay. So can you hear me, all of you?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I will start with the presentation. So again, good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. So today, as you know, I will talk a few points about engineering career opportunities in Japan. So these are the contents in brief. So first we'll see briefly about Japan. Most of you must be knowing many of the things in Japan, about Japan, but still to bring everybody on same page, I usually go through this first session on Japan. So you can see the Japan's location, everybody knows it. It is on Far East, and the latitudes are just above Kashmir of India. And that relates to in some parts of Japan, the climate and weather is very cold, especially North Japan. So that is the position of Japan globally. Then this is Japan again, you know. What I want to convey here is Japan is mainly an island country, and there are main 4 islands, and the interest of locations for the students, for the engineering students, is no doubt Tokyo is the first choice. Especially even Sachin will agree that for IT, Tokyo is the most important place. But other than that, for engineering students, Kobe and Osaka are the other places. Plus Nagoya is the place where there will be many opportunities coming up. And one more point I want to just highlight here. If you see the geography of Japan, it is all islands. And in the history of Japan was surrounded by their own navy for almost 150 to 200 years. And that way, Japan remained isolated from the whole world for a long time of 150 to 200 years. The consequences of this reality, I will talk later in my presentation. Just remember this point. Then, of course, these are the flags of Japan, and you can always see the students will recognize which is the Japanese flag. And it is the red rising sun on the white background. And that's why we call it the land of rising sun. Then about population of Japan, everybody knows it's given on the internet. But if you compare it with the world or China or India, then Japan population roughly it is equal to Maharashtra's population, that is 12 to 13 crores. And area-wise also, Japan's area and Maharashtra state's area are almost equal, like 3.75 square kilometers, 3.75 lakh square kilometers. So Japan can be compared to Maharashtra population-wise and area-wise. You know the currency of Japan, and it has gone very strong. In my early days, that is the early 80s, the yen was only rupees 7 to 8, and now almost 10 times it has become stronger. Japanese economy, you know, it is very strong. It is third largest next to US and China. And you can see the per capita GDP and how much is the size of the total GDP. So that way, and actually this is the reason, coming back to the economy, this is the reason why we are talking about Japan, and we are today discussing Japan. Everybody knows which are the top companies, automobile field. Now here I want to mention, I have worked with a company, Japanese company, multinational, which manufactured telecommunication products for the car inside. They were supplied to Subaru. So I had, Subaru is the last in the list. So I had that opportunity to work with a Japanese company. Subaru's cars are famous for their ability to work in very cold temperatures, especially in North Japan. Again, I had some opportunity to interact with Kawasaki also. And Kawasaki Heavy is now in Pune for last many years. They have the factory, Kawasaki Heavy's factory is in Chakan in Pune. They are my clients. Then of course Mitsubishi is there, and all other big names are there. Then everybody knows the electronic companies in Japan. Actually, these are the companies, or this is what led me to think about Japan when I was studying engineering. And when I learned Japanese, because I thought that there are many advanced companies in Japan working in electronics and telecom field. And actually that was the catalyst for me to start my Japanese language education and start my relation with Japan and Japanese industry. About this, for Mitsubishi Electric, actually I am connected to them. They are my customers for some areas. And I worked in an Indian company when I started my career after passing out. And eventually we developed a PLC. I was working on that development, and eventually that was bought by Mitsubishi Electric some 5-7 years back. That way also I'm connected to Mitsubishi Electric. Then for Fujitsu Japan, we have supplied manpower for them. This way also I'm connected to Fujitsu. Then now, about why I added this part in the presentation is that if an engineer works in Japan, there is no doubt a life at work or environment at work, and then there is another life, that life outside the company, and it looks like this. Or these are all photos from my students. No photos are from internet. These are live photos taken in last 2-3 months by my students. So if you are going to Japan, thinking of Japan, you must know Mount Fuji, you must know Kinkakuji, that is the Golden Temple near Kyoto. And nowadays, for last many years, all young people, like the engineers who are studying engineering students who are attending this webinar today, Japanese anime is another very strong area which is attracting the young people to Japan and to make careers in Japan. Then about Japan, you should also know about what are the seasons in Japan. So one of the seasons, there are 4 seasons. Spring is there. Now they are in spring. From March to May, it is spring. But the autumn, you are seeing the pictures of autumn, which happens somewhere around September, October, November. And the autumn also is very beautiful in Japan. So you should know, and there is even the colds, the winter is very strong in Japan, in North Japan. And there is a lot of snow also in north part of Japan. So that way it has a lot of variety weather-wise also. Again, these are not internet pictures. These are shared by my students. I think these are 2 weeks back pictures of bullet train. Let me mention that the bullet train and all that infrastructure has come in Japan in 1960s. And the train structure, the public transport structure is very strong in Japan. And today, even we are just talking about bullet train in India. So approximately we are 40 to 50 years behind Japan in every field. Please remember that. Again, these are the pictures shared by my students. You can see some street food in Japan. It's difficult for me to remember the names, but from the left hand you can see is a crab, and that is in shoyu sauce. Then in the middle it is a frozen ume, and on the right you can see okonoyakomi yaki. So these are some street foods our students sometimes eat on Japan's street, especially near Asakusa in Tokyo. Now, if one has to make career in Japan, he should be aware of Japanese people and their behaviors and their likings and dislikings. So there are many things about Japanese people you have heard all the time. I will put it in a very simple way in one line, that you should, if you want to work in Japan, you should be able to read Japanese person's mind. And reading Japanese person's mind is like peeling an onion. So you go on peeling and peeling, and you cannot make what is on his or her mind. So this requires a different skill. And unless you have this skill to read the Japanese person's mindset, you will not be able to enter the top management of Japanese company. So please remember that if you are going to want to work in Japan. One more important point is that Japanese people, they are not modern, very modern, but along with being modern and along with using the highest technology, the topmost technology, they have preserved their traditions also, their history also. And this is a very interesting part I always find about Japan, that they have maintained, loved, cherished, nurtured their culture and heritage, and simultaneously they have adopted latest technology. So please remember that also. Then Japanese people are really trustworthy, and they are obsessed with cleanliness. I will give an example. One of my Japanese friend, who's a MD of a Japanese company, he had come to India with his wife, and they had gone to attend a preparation for Ganesh festival in their society. So outside the room for the preparation or for the practice or the rehearsals, our Indian people had put their shoes and they were scattered all over the floor. This Japanese lady, wife of an MD, she also wanted to go for practice. So first thing she did was she put all shoes in line perfectly, what is called as seiri in Japanese, and then she entered. So this is the discipline, and this is the obsession with discipline and cleanliness by the Japanese. And this also you should remember always. Everyone has heard that the life expectancy of Japanese people is the highest in the world. You must have come across the latest Japanese novels like Ugaki, or I don't remember the name, but that is about the long life, Ikigai. So all these things make Japanese people different, a different society. So you should always keep this in mind. Now, having said that, having talked about Japan and Japanese people, we have to see, in very brief, we'll see the career opportunities in Japan. So of course, you can have post-graduation study in Japan. There are many good universities. Even Sachin also must be knowing many good universities from Japan. Then you can do, in some fields, you can do the doctorate research also in Japanese universities. For post-graduation, I remember there is a university in Japan, there is in Tokyo also, then there is one Ritsumeikan Kan University. One of my students is studying in Ritsumeikan University in Beppu. Beppu, that is south part of Japan. He's doing MBA there. As if you see on website, there are many scholarships, about 200 plus scholarships for studying Japan. You can find the details on MOFA website, or you can find the details on JASO website. Even on Jalta website, you can find the details. And of course, there are jobs for freshers in Japan. For this, I will even freshers can get jobs in Japan. I will put examples of 2 freshers from VIT, your college, who got job in Japan after passing out. I will share their video. I will just mention here that when I met them, when they were studying, they were very shy, and obviously they could not show much confidence. But after that, after working in Japan, now 4 years after that, their confidence is really different. Their body language is different. You can see how they are talking.
So today we have 2 friends with us who are currently working in Japan, and they will share their experiences with us. So first, tell us about yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Akash Nand. I am VIT pass out of 2016 batch. My branch was computer engineering. I came to Japan in April 2017, and I'm currently working as a software engineer in data science team.
Hello all, I am Harshad Khole, same as Akash. I graduated from VIT in 2016. My department was mechanical engineering. Right now I am working for a French company. We are in renewable energy. Before that, I used to work for a Japanese company called YKK. It's a zipper company. So until now, I have completed almost 4 years of my stay here in Japan.
And did you learn Japanese before coming here, or how did you decide to learn Japanese? What was your journey to deciding?
Actually, honestly speaking, I was introduced to Japanese in a admission process of VIT. There was a subject called foreign language, and my reason to select Japanese was the other options such as French, Spanish, German were all English-based character language, and I wanted to learn something new characters. So I decided to learn Japanese. But after learning Japanese, my motivation and goal became more clearer, because I found out that in Japan the population is highly skewed to the right side, meaning there are very few young people who are working in Japan, and given our Indian population, we have very young talented students. I believe that is why Japan will always have a good opportunities for Indian engineers. So that was my main reason to study Japanese.
So actually, I was in the same batch with Akash, the same class rather, and same like when I was there to take admission in VIT, I was a bit late, and I had only one option left, that was Japanese. And so I selected it. But at that time I didn't know anything about Japanese, but once I get admitted there, I started learning about it. And as in a person, personally I found it very interesting, because it's a very unique, you will find some weird characters, which there's some lines, horizontal, vertical, and that's how the language is. So it was very interesting to me, and it gave me some motivation to learn some new things, and that was my reason I selected Japanese. And of course, there was no option though.
So, and I believe that not everyone who learns Japanese come to work in Japan. So, how did you landed at that decision, and how did you get the opportunity for that?
So when I was learning Japanese, I was not really sure as to how this learning journey will end up will give me an opportunity of working in Japan. But fortunately, in the last year of my engineering, Harshad introduced me to one opportunity called HR Nikkei. It's a recruitment forum in Tokyo who invites students from developing countries such as India, Philippines, China, etc. to have an interview with Japanese companies. So because of my technical background in computer science and my language abilities of Japanese, I got an opportunity to have an interview with Japanese companies such as NTT, Yamaha, and YKK here in Tokyo for 1 week.
Yeah.
So from there, I got an opportunity to work with a Japanese company, and I believe Harshad
Yeah,
was
so
also
we were in a same boat, rather plain, I would say, and so we came to Japan in around 2016. Yes, and then same as Japan, same as Akash, I did interview for 8 Japanese companies, and for my field is mechanical engineering, so most of the companies were from mechanical background, the industrial background, and there I got selected for 3 companies, and I choose one of them, and it was YKK, and the company was in a very rural area called Toyama. It's not Tokyo, but it's a very rural area, I would say. Yeah, and that's how we landed in Japan.
Suhas,
Yeah.
sir, I would like to just interrupt. We have
Yeah,
few
yeah.
questions. So if possible, Sachin, can you just type the answers for them? By the time Suhas sir is presenting.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. I'll do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about career opportunities, and you just had a few words you heard from your past students, VIT students, and they really and now, so the freshers can get jobs. Let me add to this. We are placing one engineer fresher from Pune College, Engineering College, not VIT this time, and he will be placed in Tokyo. He will be joining after the Corona situation eases down and the flights regularly start. He's supposed to join a manufacturing company in Tokyo in around August 2021. So that is another fresher who will be joining. Then there are other examples. One of the fresher had joined a Japanese company in Wakayama, and she's from Kolhapur, but she's working in Wakayama. Then there is one another student who joined in. There are 2 students from our company who joined a manufacturing company based in Tokyo in 2019 June and November respectively. So freshers also can get jobs directly in Japan. And of course, you can do your own business also, which I am doing. And there are many other entrepreneurs who are doing business with and in Japan. Then there are many fields you can get opportunities to work in, all the fields. Animation is the latest emerging field. The gaming software development is the emerging field. Then mechatronics is the emerging field. Instrumentation is the another field. Then let me briefly talk about what are the drivers. As you know, you must have read on internet, you must have read news also. Only last week, in the local newspaper, there was a news that which are the top working places in the world. And Japan and Tokyo especially was ranked 5th or 6th. So it had come from rank between 15 to 20. This time it has come to, I think, 6th place. So Japan is a choice of preference. Then our relations, India-Japan relations is the one driver. And the most important driver is the aging population, which we are talking about for last 15 years. for last 15 years in every presentation, I'm mentioning this point. So their aging population has been a problem for a long time for Japan. And that is the opportunity for Indian or other Asian students also to work in Japan. So these are the drivers. Of course, there are many drivers. I am not going in micro level because the time doesn't permit that. But more than opportunities, what are the benefits if you work in Japan? That I want to bring to your attention. So if you work in Japan, it's likely that it will be most likely that you will work in the latest technology field, which I have experienced myself, that because of working with Japanese people and Japanese companies, I was able to work on latest technologies. Then you will be deep in the Japanese management style. And this is another learning process, and you learn a lot when you remain in a Japanese management system. And usually I have found that Japanese companies are very big. Even their MSMEs are very big than our LSI companies. That is the scale. So even Japanese MSMEs are having, I have seen the Japanese MSMEs having turnover of 500, 600 crores, which is more than our large scale companies. So the companies are really huge, and most of the companies have global presence. One of my clients currently, they are, I will tell name also, Ishida Hakari. They are the best in weighing. They have best technology in weighing. They are number one in world. I am associated with them for last 3-4 years now and working for them. So they have global presence. The point is they are present in Europe, US, Australia, and of course Asia. So usually Japanese MNC, even if it is an SME, still it is very big. And of course, if you're lucky, you can end up with working with some really big giant. And the different fields is like there is port infrastructure. About port infrastructure, I worked with K-Line. So K-Line was working on some port projects in Gujarat coastal area. So I found that the technology was really latest. Actually, port infrastructure, only 2 countries are best. One is Australia, and I think first is Japan, and the second is Australia. So they have very latest technology in port infrastructure. Even precast concrete, there is a company called Toyoda Engineering, Toyoda Koki, actually, the name is Toyoda Koki, and they manufacture precast concrete for tunnels, which is which requires high precision. So they make tunnels with precast concrete, even retention walls with precast concrete. So you can see different technologies, areas, or fields where you can work when you are in a Japanese company. If it comes to telecommunication in automobile, I have worked with a Japanese MNC. I will tell the name Fujikura. Fujikura is very famous in telecommunication in automobiles. And I was director of Fujikura India for 3 to 4 years for their Indian operations. And we worked on really some latest technologies in telecommunication within the car. So there are many emerging fields in engineering, which you will get opportunity to work in if you work in Japan and Japanese company. And of course, the latest is the e-vehicles and the related technologies. Even about the batteries for the e-vehicles, Japanese companies are coming up with very latest and very light by weight technologies. So this I can go on telling, but there are really different fields and new fields which you will get opportunity to work in. And then if you work with a Japanese company, or if you work in Japan, what you will get? The one thing I will mention, that your job will be long lasting unless you want to leave the job. But the most important thing is, which I think for any engineering student, is there is a total change in your personality, and your way of thinking changes. your attitude towards your work, then your behavior at public places, everything changes. And you become more realistic, you become more data oriented, you don't become subjective, you become objective. If you see any report of a Japanese person, when I was director in Japanese company, there were 6 department heads reporting to me, all were Japanese, and only the accounts head was Indian. When the reporting came to me, the Japanese HODs, their reporting was really full of details, full of graphs, full of comparisons, full of a lot of data, realistic data. And the accounts guy, even though he should be full of numbers, but he was very vague, subjective. So Japanese people are very objective when it comes to communicate anything, while working also or in real life also. So these things will you learn. Now I will take a break from PPT, and I will take to a video, what you get when you work with a Japanese company.
Small country and they have very less population. Most of the population won't find anything like it is full of very
Overall experience so far.
Yeah.
The principles you
So having one concrete goal or one major along with Japanese is really difficult, really important.
So Harshit, just like the principles you mentioned, 5S
Yes.
and other principles, you
Yes.
must have learned other things while working with Japanese people. Or how is your overall experience so far?
Yeah, so that's a vast topic, I would say. My 4-year experience was it is full of very unique experiences. So as I mentioned earlier, I was placed in a very rural area where you won't find anything like anyone out walking outside, because as you know, Japan is a small country and they have very less population. Most of the population is in Tokyo, so you'll find very less people there. So that was very shocking to me, because since we are from India and we have many people around us, and that was very shocking. Yes, so that was a surprising experience. And after that, about Japanese people, I would say yes, there are very unique unique characteristics about the Japanese work culture. You will find that they are very punctual about time. So that is the thing which I try to learn, and I'm still learning maybe. And that is a very important thing in Japanese company. You need to be very punctual, and their time management. You will see if they display something like a train is coming at 12 past 3 minutes, it will be there on 12 past 3 minutes, not like 12 plus 4 or before that. So that is their accuracy. So they are very intricate about such details. They pay very minute attention to the details. So that is the another thing which I learned. So and one more thing is the very different culture which I found is they have very hierarchical culture. So that is the very big difference between if you compare the European or American work culture and Japanese work culture. You will have they will have their boss, their subordinates, and then there is a very hierarchy, and the language which you use to your boss will be different, which you use to your colleague will be different. So that is again a new experience. That was again a new experience for me.
what
For
next?
me, the challenges were language barrier, cultural barrier. For example, there are many things to talk about cultural barrier, but one of the things that I wanted to say is that in India we are used to have an open communication, free communication in the office. But in Japan, Japanese people are very shy. They do not open directly to anyone unless they are familiar with the person. So it takes some time for any Japanese team to be familiar with the person. So that was one of the biggest challenges for me when I initial biggest challenge for me when I joined Japanese company. language barrier, because even though after acquiring N3 level of proficiency in India, I was not very proficient in speaking Japanese, and everything around me was in Japanese, mails in Japanese, meetings in Japanese. So it was quite overwhelming. But as time passed, I actually got an opportunity to learn Japanese in Japan as well. So that opportunity gave me a lot of scope to improve my Japanese proficiency, and ultimately I became used to Japanese environment. The there are many opportunities that there are many things that I have learned in Japan. One is that I got an exposure to global talent. Tokyo is a very global city. There are many engineers across the globe from US, UK, who are working on a very cutting edge technology here in Japan. So I got an opportunity to attend meetups, learn from them, maybe collaborate with them on some side projects. So one learning is networking. Second is I found out that Japanese people are very punctual, as Harshad said, and it is really one of the good learning that I have found in Japan. Also, I believe my biggest learning is very strong work ethics. Japanese people believe in very strong work ethics, and they are very professional. If you say that you will finish meeting by 4 o'clock, you will have to finish meeting by 4 o'clock.
That's
so
true.
that is, I believe that is one of the very good skill which will be very helpful for a long-term career.
So the
Here, let me mention about the punctuality. I will share my own experience. He mentioned about railways also. So railways in Japan, every employee has to come in time in his office. If an employee gets late and he gives a ticket from railway mentioning that the railway was late, the train was late today, then he's excused. And the Japanese management believes that if the train is late, really the person can't do anything. So to this extent, the trains are punctual. Actually, the trains never get late. Very rarely they get late. And second point is about Japanese management and very different aspects they spoke. One thing is punctuality is not only trains coming on time or employees coming on time to the work. He mentioned that you have to finish the meeting in time. So that is also very important. So the one who holds the meeting, he has to be very particular about finishing it on time. That is one thing. If you want to report to your boss or your colleagues, if I say that I will give my example. For my Japanese client, I go to our factory construction is going on for Ishida only. I mentioned Ishida Hakari. Near Pune, I am looking after their factory construction. And I have to visit the factory once a week. So I visit on Wednesday. And I have to give a very detailed report, the way Japanese expect it. So I visit and I have to give the latest report of Wednesday. So what happens is usually I finish my visit by 5:30 on the site evening. Then I have to come to the office, prepare the report for 5 to 6 hours and submit it that night only around 11 p.m. So that when the Japanese people in Japan, they wake up and see the mail when they go to office, my report should be there on Thursday morning when they open the mail. So this is what they mean by punctuality. So timing is not only for coming late or early or on time, but your report and work should be on time and should be punctual. Now some more addition from the videos. I will switch over to video again for 2 minutes.
Of the salary you can save.
Yeah.
and what is the standard of living here or comfort level that you found in public spaces?
Yes, so I would say Japan is one of the most clean countries in the world, I would say, because they are very concerned about the cleanliness. You will find roads and stations, subways, it's very clean. It's very convenient. The trains, especially Tokyo, it's very convenient. You will find trains running 5 minutes with the gap of even 2 or 3 minutes. So it's very, very super convenient, I would say. And you will have many different unique things in Japan.
So my experience of life in Japan is same as Harshad. It is quite convenient. I have traveled to US, UK as well, but as Harshad mentioned, I think Tokyo is one of the cleanliest cities in the world, and public transportation is also very efficient. You can safely ride a train in Japan.
Yeah.
I think life in Japan is very unique in its sense, and it has its own perks as well. Japan has the lowest crime in the world, so I think that is also one of the good point. And for me, food was a bit difficult challenge because
Yeah.
Japanese food is based on meat based and fish based. But if you can cook, you will get a lot of Indian food, Indian restaurant, Indian groceries, and you will get used to it. And also you can explore global food like maybe continental cuisines from other countries such as Italian, etc. So overall, I would say life in Japan is very convenient. It's very safe. Public transport is very efficient in Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and I believe for any and also convenience, I would say a convenience store are located on every 500
Yeah, that's
meter.
a unique thing you will find
So
in Japan.
it is very convenient, and I
Yeah.
would say makes life easier.
Yeah, I will switch over to my PPT.
Hello. Mate sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to tell that Harshad and Akash, they have also joined this meeting. So maybe,
Okay.
yes.
Great. If they talk live, that will be great.
Yeah, after Sachin's presentation, we can have them live.
Yeah, that will be a
Yes.
great.
So,
Yes.
yes. So welcome Akash and welcome Harshad. Please stay with us.
Ma'am,
Akash,
should I?
After Sachin's presentation, we can have them live, right? Yeah, you can make them panelist, Gagan. You can make them panelist. After Sachin's presentations, we can have them.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
yeah, Akash san, welcome. Harshad san, welcome.
Yes, sir. So now after this, we'll start with Sachin, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm yet to finish.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what is the benefits of working in Japan, and I think even Harshad, Sachin, and Sachin san, Harshad san, and Akash san will agree that your personality changes. The way I can see some changes in myself, I think, and that is the most important gain or benefit of making career in Japan. Then this is how your life will look like in Japan. So you can see in the pictures one Indian girl and one Indian boy with two Japanese people after having a dinner at Italian restaurant. The right hand top picture. The boy has gone there for internship, and the girl is working in a company in Tokyo. You can see the snow that is the snow is in mostly north part as well as near Hiroshima. This is a live photo of snow near Hiroshima in just mid of February. You can see the fishing on left and bottom picture is the fishing. Japanese people like fishing, and left top is the sun, the evening in Tokyo. On the right hand side, lower side, there is a picture of kimono. So if any girls are participating in this webinar, this is also good experience of Japanese culture when you go to Japan. And this is how your life will look like in Japan. And then the important part is what you will need to qualify to work in Japan. So you will have to have excellent communication skills. You should be able to read Japanese person's mind, and you should be able to change yourself. That is the most important thing. And last but not the least, the competition for students in Asian countries, especially Chinese students, that you should keep in mind, and you have to overcome that competition. And that is also important point. And I will again add one small point from the video, and then we will conclude my speech.
In a very rural area called Toyama, it's a
And I believe that you must be struggling with all your engineering. And started learning Japanese in last years of your engineering, and I believe that you must be struggling with all the assignments and completions. And then how did you take this challenge of learning a new language, which is this different and unique than other foreign languages?
Yes, definitely. I would say it's a challenging task to manage your engineering and Japanese as a language, because as we explained, it is one of the most difficult languages in the world, rather second, right? So, and it has some as I mentioned, there are some characters. There are 3 scripts, by the way. So it's kind of, you have to learn 3 scripts. You have to understand those 3 scripts. So that was a really challenging task. But for me, it is that interest, my own personal interest, that kept me with the Japanese. And we started it in first year, but I decided to thanks to VIT, they give us this opportunity. But later on, I decided to stick to studying. I don't wanted to leave it apart. But of course, I did also concentrate on my engineering studies, and somehow I balanced it. So what do you think, Akash?
Actually, I agree that learning Japanese can be a very difficult challenge, because it has 3 scripts, as Harshad mentioned, and doing it parallel with your engineering studies is a difficult challenge altogether. But for me, I will be honest that my first priority was not learning Japanese. It was always an engineering studies, because that is my major. But whenever I get an opportunity, whenever I was bored with the technical studies, when I find a free time, I used to study Japanese with some apps, website, attending Japanese class, talking to friends in Japanese. So that is how I continued learning Japanese. But as in, like, in engineering, I believe learning Japanese was not my top priority. I will be honest with that.
Okay.
And I think for learning Japanese, that must have had its own challenges or struggles. Or how was that experience for you?
So, as we earlier mentioned, Japanese is a difficult language in itself. Like, it is not English-based character language. So you will have to take an additional effort to remember all 3 scripts. And in reality, Japanese people use these 3 scripts together
In combination.
along with English words. So it is a bit difficult in that sense. But I believe that that challenge itself is motivating factor also, because sometimes you feel proud that you are learning the toughest language, and that can give you many opportunities, because there is very less competition. There are very few people who are learning it. So I believe the difficult part for me was learning some difficult character called kanjis in Japanese. And I still struggle even after learning Japanese for 7 years. I'm still struggling with it, but yeah, we get used to it. So learning Japanese was one of the difficult tasks.
And what about you, Harshad?
Yes. So what was the mode? I would like to share my experience, because
You used to stay in Toyama. So
Yeah.
how do you compare these?
a snowy region, it used to snow a lot during winter. So for me, for a person who is based in Pune, you will stay home. So that is
4 years, I believe.
yeah.
Then you're working here, you learn Japanese, and how do you evaluate your decision of coming to work here?
So I think Japan, when I was learning Japanese, my peers were, my friends at the university were always preparing for opportunities in US, UK. But I would say Japan has its own unique challenges, which will open an opportunity for you to learn many things. Japan is also a developed country, which is third largest economy. So given the economy growth and the opportunities in Japan, I believe we will find very good opportunities. Also, one of the important thing is to learn Japanese before coming to Japan. And if you can get proficiency up to level N2, I think you can get many opportunities in Japan. And from that perspective, I think I did a good choice of coming to Japan and pursue career here, because at the end, Japan will always have an opportunity for engineers who can have very good technical skills as well as language skills, and it will always open a door for young Indian talent in India.
Yeah,
What about
yeah. For me, so actually, so it Japan experience. It took me out of my comfort zone. So when I was living in Toyama, there were like no Indians around me. So I have to speak Japanese, because if I have to speak to someone, of course there are like Skype and other application that you can communicate with your friends, but like if you want to talk to somebody, it's only Japanese. So that was really nice. Like it was really challenging at first, but I get used to that, and because of that I could make many Japanese friends, so that was very nice. And once again, after like going to company, doing work, the daily work, I learned lot many things, like very minute things I learned, like they are really professional, they are very dedicated, and they all, like my boss and other colleagues, they always motivated me like to do work in this fashion. So that was really nice, and it shaped me my career.
Suhas, we are little running out of time,
What I
so
believe
can we?
is
Yeah.
the one thing,
Yeah.
if you
So now, okay. So with this note, I will finish, and thank you, VIT, thank you all. So you can take over, madam. No problem.
Yeah, thank you, Suhas sir. So
Thank you.
since now we have Harshad and Akash both with us live, so after
Fine,
such a
fine.
presentation, we can have
Yes,
some
yes.
live interaction with them.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you, Suhas.
Thank you.
I request Sachin to please share his views. Suhas can stop the screen share. Yeah.
Yeah. I will stop. Leave. You stop.
Yeah. Please stay connected.
Sachin, you got the screen?
Yeah. So I'm just
Okay.
sharing my screen. Just give
Okay.
me a second. So can you see my screen or no?
Screen.
Okay, just give me a second.
No, sir.
Okay, give me a second.
Kadu sir is there. Can you help Sachin?
Yes, 1 minute, sir. Sir, there is share screen option.
Yeah, so I'm checking that actually, but it's still not allowing me to share my desktop. So I'm wondering what's going on.
So once you when you are clicking on the share screen, are you getting any message or?
Yeah, so it is actually not allowing me to share my desktop. It's okay.
Because one more window will open and then it will ask to share and then you can go ahead.
Give me a second.
Sure. So Anil sir, just to test, can you just try sharing yours so that we know that if any?
I think it is putting some security restrictions on Zoom itself. So let me figure it out. Otherwise, I can share it from my different screen. Give me a second. Yeah, sorry.
Sachin, I can share the presentation that you have shared with me if it's okay with you.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I think my security settings is not allowing me to share it here. We'll need to check that. Okay, I think yes, I'm done. I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
sorry about that technical glitch. So thanks, Mate Sensei. Very excellent overview, and I think you have left a very limited part for me to cover, anyways.
No,
Uh,
no, no.
and
Sorry for that. Thank you, and sorry.
no, no, no. So hi everyone, and I'll just take you through my observations about Japan in the last 15 years and what I have seen in Japan to develop your career in Japan, uh, which is a kind of different geography for all of us. It was a different geography since I started learning Japanese 30 years back while I was at engineering. And unfortunately, it has remained that way even now. 30 years back also, we used to hear from our Japanese teachers as well as whoever we used to interact that Japanese or Japan is unexplored territory for Indians and huge opportunity for Indians in Japan. And that still remains same, unfortunately, because not too many Indians are looking at that as a prospective career geography. So here is some attempt to show you good side and the bright side of Japan, what one can think to develop career in Japan. I will just run through my brief introduction, but I think it is very well covered earlier as well. So will not take much of time. As Anil sir already mentioned, I did my instrumentation engineering at VIT, and I didn't start my Japanese career immediately after my engineering graduation. Though I had learned Japanese a bit, but I think I somehow landed up into the same bandwagon where I wanted to go to Europe or US and make my career in that part of geography. I worked in Europe for 2-3 years, and then I moved to Japan around 2005. While working with Japanese companies as well as Indian companies, I also completed my uh, full-time MBA at National University here in Tokyo. And that, I would say, gave me a different perspective altogether about Japan, apart from my professional career by then. And since then, I've transitioned myself into more of a CIO and CTO stream, going away from typical Indian-based offshore IT, which has been part of career for most of us here in Tokyo. And I also recently, for last 6 years, I've been working with staffing companies and recruitment companies for their digitization needs. And that's where, as also part of my job, I'm looking at career development as one of the areas for all engineers and non-engineers. So, couple of first slides I will briefly run through about Japan. Most of the points I think Mate Sensei has covered. So, it's third largest geography, third largest GDP, and one of high capita income. Population-wise, unlike Europe countries, it is not scarce population, but 125 million. So, though it is 1/10 of India, even the area is less. And the key factor here is the population or working population is rapidly declining, and that is one of the key opportunity area for all of us. Infrastructure wise, very high infrastructure across country. As Mate Sensei mentioned, Shinkansen, what we are talking now, and we may have it in 2023 in India. It's there in Japan since 1964, when first time Olympic was held here in Tokyo. In spite of that, major commercial activities are concentrated in capital Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Kobe region. And these are more of a concentrated hubs when it comes to professional career for non-Japanese workforce. Industries, it includes automobile, consumable, electronics, computer, semiconductors, then iron and steel, petrochemical. Pharmaceutical is one of the big industries in Japan, aerospace and high tech, as well as processed food. So wide variety of industries and wide choice individuals have when it comes to career, and it is not only IT centric. IT has been just as a, I would say, a conduit for Indian engineers for a long time, for last 30 years, as one of the easiest way, but there are many prospective careers you can have in many different industries as well. So it's not about only IT. Then IT definitely is one of the areas where a lot of investment is happening in Japan, and government is also promoting investment in that area, because digitization, as we all know, all businesses are getting digital now, and that is where IT, life sciences, environment and energy, and even tourism are some of the sectors that are getting highly promoted by government agencies, and you will find a lot of information about that on sites like JETRO and Ministry of Japan websites. Then last 3 points I mentioned about Japan, mainly how does it connect to India? So very healthy political relations with India, and that helps a lot when you are living here as a foreigner, because that you don't land up into a lot of hassles about immigration policies, visas, which we have seen in last 4 or 5 years for our colleagues in US, where visa policies keep on changing over a period of time and depending on the political structure in that country. We have also had daily direct connectivity. Forget about COVID right now, but otherwise we have daily direct connectivity from Delhi to Mumbai. It is 8 to 9 hours, depending on season you travel. And time zone wise also, unlike US, it's just 3.5 hours time difference with India. So even if you are working with India or working here independently, you are not too much away from India if you are following your family as well as happenings in India. Now, as today's main focus is Japan as a career destination and not as, of course, tourist destination, I'll cover a few points why you choose Japan as a career. And this is very important because not too much of information available about Japan even now, and even probably things have changed in last 20-25 years with the speed in which information is available on internet and not too many websites. And I see quite a few tourists as well traveling these days to Japan. So though a lot of information is now available on Japan, I still see it is not as detailed as what we have about European countries, mainly UK or USA. So why Japan is a bright spot and one should consider for career? The biggest point is shrinking local workforce, and that's a massive opportunity for all of us. Because if you look at Japanese demographics, out of 125 million Japanese population, it's a declining population, and that means the workforce or fresh graduate engineers, and through that the progression of overall employment or the working force that we call is going to decline. It is declining for some time now, and that is definitely a good opportunity for us to fill up that gap. Japanese government is certainly taking steps to fill this gap very seriously, and that is where you will see quite a few treaties that are happening between Japanese government and some of Asian governments. In 3 years back, there was treaty with Indian government as well to create I don't know how many engineers, but and very recently also we saw some communication on that. So that way it becomes a good career destination. Japan has one of lowest unemployment rate. The ratio of jobs availability and ratio of number of workforce is also very healthy, and it is increasing day by day. So at least I am following this for last 6 to 7 years, when it was per person available. So in recruitment industry, we have a ratio called number of availability of jobs per person. And in 2013 or so, it was around 1.1 to 1.15. And now consistently it has been increasing, and somewhere it has reached to 1.4. That means there are more number of jobs available than the available workforce. Then as Mate Sensei and even you saw in videos, language is a very unique barrier, and it's a very hard barrier to crack for new entrants. But think about the barrier as a how you can turn it into your advantage, because when it's a barrier, if you break that barrier, it can work to protect you as well and to progress your career as well, rather than having too much of competitive nature of employment. So yes, it's a barrier to crack, but if you break that barrier and if you work in a right approach, you can definitely convert it into advantage for your career. Immigration policies, visa policies are very friendly, and at least I have seen that in last 15 years. Until 3-4 years back, I think we used to live here for 10 years plus to get permanent residency. Now for high skilled, they call it as a high skilled labor. So they have a point system. So if you are engineer, postgraduate, PhD, they give you more and more points. And based on that, you can get permanent residency as quick as 3 to 5 years now. So definite changes in those rules. But even if you do not want to go for that, long-term visas available, and getting work visa is very easy as long as you have initial sponsorship by local employer. It's one of the safest countries around the world, and it is topping that list consistently for over a period of time now. In the US or even in some European countries, we keep on hearing from friends and family members who travel there that you can't travel after certain hours in the evening and you can't go anywhere at all. I think Japan is very, very safe on that front. I myself travel late in night when I finish my work, or even my wife travels in middle of night if she's finishing work in night, or my son goes to his school since he was 5 or 6 years old by himself, and that can tells you the kind of safety or overall the local situation here in Tokyo. It's very safe country, and that is one of the biggest factors, because then you don't need to worry about all these other aspects while you're completely focused on your professional career. I think Mate Sensei also mentioned that it's a lifetime career, so very steady and stable employment culture instead of fire and hire kind of culture what we have in Western countries, especially in US as well. Companies here do take time before before hiring somebody, but they have a very long-term thought process when they hire someone. They have a long-term career plan for individuals, and unless you want to leave and go to somewhere else for your career progression, it's very rare that company will fire you in Japan. Then some of the hard benefits, taxation is not as massive as one I have seen, or at least I know in some of European countries like Belgium and even some other parts or some of the states in US, and quite a good benefits as far as healthcare and even national or corporate pension plans, pension schemes are concerned. Apart from that, this country has a very rich history and culture. I saw King Kakuji's photograph in Mate Sensei's presentation, and that is just one of the sites. And such sites are across Japan. And once living in any country for shorter period for your work assignment is one thing, but looking at that country for longer period is different, because you're going to spend your life. So there is a life beyond work, and it's not only about work. So you should think about all these aspects when you're choosing one of the countries for your career destination, and these things definitely help. Excellent urban and rural infrastructure. So that's why whether you're in Tokyo or in Toyama, because I saw earlier on video, Toyama is actually about 500 kilometers from Tokyo, but you will find the same kind of roads, same kind of infrastructure there. It's just small, and you may not have the jazzy nightlife what you can see in cities, but its basic infrastructure is exactly same, and high living standard and high service level. And when it comes to Japan, I think at least I've traveled across 20 plus countries, but after going to all these countries, maybe except Switzerland, I have not seen those kind of service levels, punctuality, and very polite service that you get here in Japan. And it actually, I would say, spoils you. And you get used to those kind of high service levels, and it spoils you for sure. But that also matters a lot if you are considering one of the countries as your career destination. So while I touched upon these factors about Japan and why you should consider, it has got also its unique business culture, and one should know this part as well before landing here or after landing here. You need to understand that and try and adapt to that so that you can have a successful career. It's not that you cannot have a career, but to have a successful career, I think definitely these points are essential. It's a very high context business culture, so people don't express themselves explicitly. Unlike in India, we express ourselves very clearly and very sharply. So whether next person is agreeing to you or not, whether he's angry or not, it is very evident on in his tone, language, mails that you will receive from Indian. But that will not happen in Japan. You need to develop skills to understand what next person is saying, and that way it is very high context business culture. Since the Japanese industrial revolution has happened through industries initially, and now that is moving away from industrial economy to knowledge-based economy. I think the lot of focus was on planning and processes, and more than result, I think the Japanese management or Japanese professionals work on planning and processes, and there is a strong belief that if your process is correct and if you execute the process as it is given, then result has to be a success. There can't be anything else. And even if it is not a success, you can keep on improving that process, and at the end you will have reliable process, so that it is independent of any individual, and you can achieve same result again and again over a period of time. So generally you will see in quite a few different countries, the analysis is done when we fail, and failure analysis is very common, because then obviously you want to succeed and that's why you do. But in Japan you analyze success as well, just to make sure that it is not a one-time success, and it's a result of process and process stringentness, and just to make sure that hypothesis is right, or how you can improve on that. As compared to some of Western or American countries, I think it's a risk aversive nature. So decision process, you will see it is sometimes takes longer period of time, because failure is something in society is not treated very good, and that has that causes sometimes delays in decision process. But while doing that, whoever is working on any business decision, they make sure they are touching each and every point, and then only they take a decision. So definitely risk aversive as compared to Western culture. More focus is on teamwork than individual heroes. So more than individual heroic efforts, group efforts are rewarded when you are working at any organization. It's also very long-term focused geography. So even if you're working with any company for a longer duration, then the your counterpart would maintain that relationship at core, and will work with you in your good times and bad times. As long as you are providing your services and you are trustworthy, they will not move away just for short-term gains. As a society, it is very high information savvy society, and that is where I think Matej Sensei mentioned about the reporting and the detailing about report. It goes to this point where Japanese organizations require detailed reporting and very high level detailing and communication. So even now, for last 3 days, we are having the rollout going on, and we have checkpoints at every 2 hours. And in checkpoint, we will confirm how's the situation and whether we are progressing well. If not, what are the reasons, and we'll correct. And like that, it will go on for whatever 72 hours. And lastly, and I will not place it lastly, but definitely Japanese language is one of the key for sure. Things have changed a bit in the last 15 years, where I see people coming here without having Japanese language skills as well, which was not the case 15 years or 20 years back maybe. But definitely having language skills, it gives you additional advantage to talk with locals in their own language, and actually develop a very good relations with locals. Because though Japanese new generation is learning English, still not fluent, or I would say Japanese locals, unless they are perfect, they're very shy to speak in English or communicate in English, and that is where they would still stick to Japanese. And if you can speak Japanese on the way, on other way hand, it will give you a good opportunity to establish good relations, and also develop your career as core member, or as part of core member in any organization. Now, as far as I think, since we are talking about the career and opportunities, definitely depending on individual skills, there will be different companies and job boards and all those information we can discuss case by case basis, I thought. But as a general, I thought I should touch upon 3 main ways, apart from doing your own business, because that's something I have not covered here. But 3 ways which you can take to land in Japan. One is you can work for Indian or Japanese company in their India operations, learn language. If you have already language skills, they will make sure sometime or other time you will move to Japan for your career progression. So that is one of the ways to move to Japan. Another thing is moving Japan for higher education. It's only an image that all universities in Japan have only Japanese courses. However, that's not true. There are quite a few courses in English, be it MBA or even Masters in Engineering or even research in biotech. MBA and it's a fully 100% English course. It's fully funded by Ministry of Japan, and you can avail various scholarships for that. And once you do higher education here, it gives you a time to get jailed with the local society, local culture, and it also gives you a chance to see if Japan is good for you, whether you are fit for that. If some gaps, you can work on that, and through campus placements or through other job portals, you can find employment opportunities here in Japan. And third way is directly approaching to companies while you are in India and directly get placed in Japan. Though percentage of this is limited, it is increasing certainly, but it is very limited, I would say, percentage. But still, you can try out that. There are few portals, there are few companies which are going to campus interviews. I think Rakuten was one of companies who was going to different campuses, IITs or even PICT, VIT. I know they had approached in past. Apart from that, Nomura, entity, those are some of the brands which are hiring from India. So and there are job boards or job fairs, I would call. So DaiJob or Nikkei Asia sites or even Recruit, where I work. We have portals which help job seekers to get jobs in Japan. So there are three different ways. Language and your technical skills definitely helps to move to Japan, because as Matthew Sensei also mentioned, and as on earlier slides you might have seen, speaking to locals in their language makes a huge difference. And when you're even now in my company or in public places, or if you go to any government offices, the entire ecosystem is developed in their own language, unlike India, where English has become a business language for all of us. I mean, we do have regional languages, and Indian scenario is completely different. But in Japan, since almost more than 150 years, it was closed, and it was being an island country, they have enriched their language for their daily usage, be it local use in governmental offices, be it in research, engineering, everything. And that is why high focus is on Japanese language, and it will take some time. I don't know even whether it will change or not. And in that situation, if you want to work here in this country, naturally, English speaking workforce is going to be very limited. And that is where, if you know language, it will be very easy for you to get jailed with the company and with other employees and make your life very easy. So definitely language is, I would say, one of the must things if you're thinking about serious long-term career in Japan. So with that, I will end my experiences and my slides. So those who like even Japanese food, I thought this is just the last thing. It's raw meat, raw fish, sushi. But if you are really interested in the various culinary experience, I think Japan is one of the places considered very high on that front as well. So do think about Japan. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Sachin. So from Suhas sir and Sachin sir's presentation, what we could understand is Japan doesn't just give you a career opportunity, it gives you a cultural experience as well. So unless you gel with the culture, it is impossible to work in Japan. Thank you so much. All the participants, please see the answers. Sachin, Akash, Harshad, they have given answers to all your questions. Now we'll have some quick questions and their answers from participants. So Sachin, you have already answered a few questions, right? So would you like to answer or talk about any question that you have already answered, which will be helpful for all?
Yeah, so I think there was a question about uh, scholarships for higher education. I think Japanese universities and Ministry of Education Japan do have a lot of scholarships actually. You can see that on portals, or there is also one of the slides, one of the sites which I have mentioned in my presentation, Study in Japan. And there are quite a few sites where you can find the information for higher study courses. To name a few universities, Waseda is one of universities where you have many English courses. Ritsumeikan, which Mate Sensei mentioned in Beppu, is one of the global universities in Japan. For me to know each and everything here, but definitely there are good scholarships for these programs, and more than that, I would stress on very good infrastructure for all these universities here in Japan, and that itself is a big experience, and you can certainly check for that instead of just only focusing on US based universities.
Right, right. Thank you so much. Now we have Harshad and Akash joining with us. So welcome Harshad and welcome Akash. So those were there in the videos that we have seen.
So thank you, Swati ma'am. Actually, I joined in the middle, so I'm not sure if this point is covered, but I wanted to tell the students who are learning Japanese is that many students take up the challenge because of all the information that they have got, but very few continue to learn it till the end. And many of the people give up in between. So I would recommend all of the students who are learning Japanese not to give up in even if they think that they are far from the opportunity. You never know when you will get an opportunity. So I think other information I believe is almost covered in chat and information presentation shared by Sachin sir and Mate Sensei. But if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to Harshad and me on LinkedIn as well. We will be happy to help you with any questions that you have.
Yes.
Harshad, would you like to add to it? Would you like to answer any question live or your views?
Thank you for inviting us here. So almost most of the topics are covered by Mate Sensei and Sachin Sensei. So, and also Akash mentioned that if there are any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We will definitely help students from VIT to guide them about career opportunities in Japan. So that's all from my side. Yes.
So we'd like to know, Harshad, where are you working?
So I am working with a French company here in Tokyo. We are based in renewable energy. We are in a field of floating solar. So I am working for that company for almost more than a year.
Right, right. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And Akash, where are you working?
I actually joined NTT Communications back in 2017, and I'm still working at NTT Communications. So I am recently working on data science department at NTT Communications as a software engineer. So based in Tokyo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Akash. Thank you for coming. Suhas sir, you have seen so many questions in the question answer section. Would you like to take a few and answer?
Yeah, I think I saw some questions about, I don't know whether I saw in the questions, but this must be on the minds of students that what is the salary they get or what saving they can do. I think that question has been already answered, I think by Akash San but let me tell the students that the salary you get depends, it varies from
Mm.
company to company and the policy of the company.
Mm.
So students seeking career in Japan should not much worry about the salary comparison with other countries, because down the line the salary gets streamlined and
Mm.
matches with other countries, and you make a good saving.
Yeah.
That's all from my side.
Yeah.
And one more point that Akash-san also mentioned, and even Sachin-san also mentioned, that you should not give up if you start learning Japanese. So that is actually the main point. That is the key point.
Now students want to know from where to learn Japanese, sir. So that is the main.
Actually, let me tell you, Swati-san, I had interacted with long back with Sule sir, Bipin Sule sir, who was director of VIT. Then after that, Jalnekar sir, and then Abhenkar sir, and they initiated Japanese learning in at VIT. So one option is yes, but unfortunately, the Japanese learning in VIT got discontinued 2-3 years back. So that is one way. Or Jaltap can support the students to start if they are really interested. Jaltap will start Japanese teaching in VIT again if VIT thinks so also. If VIT management allows, that also we can consider and start. And of course, if you want to learn personally, you can contact our Jaltap office and they will give you a list of teachers in the area where you are staying. So you can always see the Jaltap website and contact Jaltap office also.
Thank you. Thank
If
you.
you want to learn on your own.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Because due to some constraints, we need to modify our structure, and now international language is not part of the curriculum, but
Right.
definitely we promote it and we ask students to do it in the summers or whenever they can do it in the break. Because
Actually, I had introduced work applications from Japan long back in 2008 or 9, and they had hired engineer from VIT. That is the story of 11-12 years back.
Yeah.
But somehow down the line, the priority to Japanese changed.
Right.
So now it depends on you, VIT and the students.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now we have come to the end of this discussion. I would also like to introduce you to Gaganjeet. Gaganjeet, VAV is the career, they run career center, and Vishwakarma University, Vishwakarma Institute of Technology's Alumni Association. Our portal is maintained and created by VAV, and it is part of their career center program that we can hold such event and such gatherings where the number of participants exceed 100. So thank you, Gaganjeet, for all your
Welcome, ma'am.
Yes.
So it was a very helpful session to all our students. Thank you, Suhas. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Akash, Harshad.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
So
Thank
Thank you all.
Thanks. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Kadu.
Thank you all.
And
Thank you,
thank
Sachin sir. Thank you, Suhas sir, Akash, and Harshad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swati madam. Thank you, Kadu sir. Thank you very much. And thank you all others. Thank you very much. I leave.
Yes, sir. So I'll request all the attendees to connect with me in case they need any more information about this.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks all.